Brady.
Yeah.
Brady.
That's a fancy-ass video, by the way.
Oh, there's Mike. Thank God.
There he is. I woke him up. I shot him a text and woke him up.
No,
we were worried you wouldn't show up. I was, I was about to rip you, but you got here just in time.
You thought I fell asleep during that game?
Who knows?
Yeah.
I think Whittingham did.
Are we on the air?
Yes, we are.
Yes.
All right. Thank you for making that very clear. Because
oh yeah, we should have told you about that.
Yeah, you probably should have. But now we're live.
Brady.
All right.
Brady.
Well, because you guys handled this whole post-game show so professionally.
We'll be waiting here for 10 minutes for you. I mean, let's go. Yeah. It's late. I mean,
let's go. All right. I got this. Welcome, everybody, to the post-game show.
Oh, there you go.
This is something that you could probably expect from us with more regularity after big primetime games and weekly, every Sunday, in between the nice little sweet spot while Football Night in America is going on NBC. Great show, great program. Love what I saw out of them today on Thursday Night Football. But if you want something a little different with that Le Batard tinge, we got you every Sunday after the 4:00 game, right before the Sunday Night Football game, right here on Le Batard and Friends, our YouTube page. So make sure you subscribe because you'll get an alert before we go live every time. Fellas, what an incredible game. We were talking about classic regular season games that you may remember forever. And when you have a tight one to kick off a season like that, that's going to be remembered for quite a while. Stu Gotts, you're awake. That's an upset in itself. That's a testament to how great this game was.
Barely awake. I'm 3-0, Mike. That's what I am, and that's why I'm awake. To be honest, if I was 0-3, I wouldn't be here. But I had the Cowboys plus 8.5. Antonio Brown over 4.5 catches, which I had to sweat out till late in the fourth quarter. Ooh. And I had Dak, and I think that's the biggest thing we learned. Forget about the Patriots; we know they're good. I had Dak over 300 yards. The Bucs, excuse me. The Patriots should be upset they're not Brady anymore. But that's what we learned tonight: is that they should be. Their fans should. I mean, seriously, they had 3 to 5 more years of this. Like the guy, it doesn't look like he's better. He's better than he was 10 years ago, and that's it's pretty incredible. But Dak over 300 yards was my third bet. I think that's the biggest thing we learned is that Dak is fine. He's healthy. He looks good, and the Cowboys appear to be a pretty good team.
I'm not sure what a recipe for success looks like for Dallas. They've been relying on Dak to throw a bunch over these last few years. Ezekiel Elliott, not the same guy. That was pretty evident over the last few seasons. You had Tony. There was all this hype on Hard Knocks and coming out of camp that Ezekiel Elliott was finally back in shape, and then he still does that thing where he has a half shirt. And you remember what Ezekiel Elliott looked like at Ohio State in his first year in the league. Yes. It's not the same guy. The blocking, despite the fact that Zach Martin wasn't there and the pass rush from Tampa got to the quarterback a lot, there were lanes for Ezekiel Elliott to take. He had the edge available to him, and he would just hesitate and pussyfoot around, just hitting the hole hard. And this is just very clearly not the same player.
Tony, before you respond to that, Mikey had 11 carries, though. I mean, they threw the ball. That's what they were doing. I mean, he only had 11 carries. I'm not even disagreeing with you. I'm just saying he never really had a chance to get into any sort of rhythm. That's all I'm saying.
There's a reason why he had 11 carries, right? Tony Pollard looks better as a running back than Zeke does, and that's just flat out. Like, they were throwing him screens. He looked shot out of a cannon every time he touched the ball. And Zeke, like you said, Mike, all he does is try and do the Le'Veon Bell thing where he looks for a lane and then hits it, and then all of a sudden that lane's been closed for 5 seconds, right? Like, he is not the running back that he used to be 2 years ago.
And you see Zeke try to find it. Like, there's this one carry where he's on the outside. He does a little hop to accelerate thing, and it's just there's just nothing there. There's nothing behind it.
But guys,
it's moving still.
But it's kind of the way the league is. Like, you look at the Bucs, and Fournette had 9 carries for 32 yards. It's like it's not a team. Yeah, but teams aren't running the ball the way they used to. It's a passing league now. You know,
there are plenty of teams with creative running schemes, and these are teams.
Your
Tampa,
team. That's it, Mike. Your team.
Yeah, no, that's not the only one.
The entire Kyle Shanahan coaching tree runs the ball, right? Like everyone in that group runs the ball a lot, and I mean, clearly Kellen Moore has decided that I'm just going to have Dak throw it 60 times. That's my route to success. And it's not necessarily a bad route. I was kind of amazed when you look at halftime, the Bucs had run 9 runs and Dallas had run 5. This is an entirely passing game. It's like the Big 12 that we're watching on Thursday Night Football, which is probably why it was so entertaining.
When it came to the rankings of upsets here on this Levitard and Friends postgame show, Stu Gatz being awake was number 1 for me, but Billy Gill being awake was right below him. Billy, we're talking about what a classic game. It had to have kept your attention the entire time, or you still pumped up over Jazz Chisholm's upper deck shot.
I fell asleep. I honestly just woke up and I saw that the Bucs took the lead. I saw the Cowboys kick the field goal to give themselves a 1-point lead. And then I knew the Bucs were getting the ball back. And then I woke up and I saw there was 2 seconds left. And I'm like, field goal. Brady pulled this one out.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's Zerline, huh?
Wait, we all knew the second Brady got the ball, right? The game was over. Like, everyone,
I think Zerline gets cut, by the way.
He made the game-winning field goal, though, right?
Godwin was close to being cut. To be honest with you, he was dreadful in the second half.
Suckup made the game-winning field goal, but the go-ahead field goal by Greg Zuerlein, and he has a bad back, and he narrowly missed that 60-yarder, and Al Michaels had to make a golf analogy when it came to his bad back.
What do we make of Al Michaels all night long going CD Lamb, like way over enunciating CD?
I enjoyed it.
He made the mistake with calling New England Tampa Bay too, because it's hard. And you said the guy is the same guy, and New England should feel bad about it. And I didn't know who you were talking about, whether it be Tom Brady or Rob Gronkowski, because Rob Gronkowski was very much not himself at the beginning of the season last year, and you're kind of wondering why did he put his body through this? And then at the end of the season, he started turning it on. But this Gronk looks better than last season's Gronk.
Yeah, 2 tutties. How about that? I mean, for Gronk. But Mike, I'm serious. If you're a Patriot fan, you're not upset that Tom Brady is now a Buccaneer simply because it appears Tom Brady just wanted to be able to express himself, like show off his personality, and like he should still be in New England, finishing his career in New England. And if they surrounded him with the right talent, clearly he can still play the game. The Patriots probably tack on another championship or 2 before it's all said and done. Like, it's crazy. I'd be upset if I was a fan of the Patriots. I really would be.
You don't have any right to be upset as a fan of the Patriots. You won 6 Super Bowls. Like, you squeezed every bit of that. Chris, like, if you're a fan, you want him to retire in your jersey. That's the only thing that you wanted. But
he thought he was done 10 years ago. He thought he was done 6 years ago. He did.
Because he's
he thought he was done 6 years ago.
Old.
He wanted to keep Garoppolo. I mean, he thought it was done 6 years ago, and all he's done since then is put together a 3rd Hall of Fame career. That's it.
The next gen stats.
Sorry for yelling.
The next gen stats of Tom Brady.
I bet your wife is.
Tom Brady having both the quickest release in the NFL while having the longest throws in the NFL.
I hate him.
I'm trying to figure out the math in that. That must mean he has the highest arch in the NFL, and I'm not good at math. But
or as Tony pointed out before we started, the timing, particularly on that throw to Godwin on that last drive, where he throws it, and Chris Collinsworth is like, he throws that 7 yards before his break.
Yeah.
And it gets there at exactly the right time. Like, it's just the timing of throwing the ball to exactly the right spot is unbelievable.
Little push off there, though.
Yeah, it helps when you interfere with the defender,
It has
Roy, Collinsworth had to speak up for the wide receiver union, though. On a back shoulder throw, those corners
doesn't elbow there.
Not a good day for any of the corners, really, on the field. Players were picked on, and there were a couple of aging quarterbacks that looked great, obviously. Tom Brady, but nobody better than Drew Brees. What a glow-up.
Oh, his hair. The hair is unbelievable.
Now, he obviously had something done to his hair. And if you think I'm going to make fun of it, I am not, because it is a tremendous upgrade. Is it noticeable? Can you see the plugs? Is it a weird color? Can it be plugs and something else going on? Sure. But
you want the name of this guy?
Yeah, I want to find out where he went. I want the plug for the plug. Drew Brees has lost weight. He's gained color in his skin, color in his hair. His hair is fuller. I mean,
skin. Has Billy
looks so
fallen asleep
comfortable on
again?
television too. He looked like he's been on television for a decade.
Yeah, that would, to me, main takeaway from today is Drew Brees is zaddy.
Yeah.
He even got a haircut before the game, right? Like, did you see him going into the barbershop with everybody? Tarico had the newspaper at the barbershop and he was getting a haircut. I was like, wait a second.
So I was putting together my pregame notes.
The barbershop's funny.
You have pregame notes, really?
I was putting together my pregame notes.
Tony.
My pregame note was I follow Drew Brees on Instagram and I saw a photo of wet hair at a barbershop and I'm like, something's different. This dude was not posting photos from the barbershop over the last 10 years of his career. He looks tremendous, and so does Tom Brady. Obviously, they showed the last quarterback that played at 44 years old in the league, and it was Steve DeBerg.
Yeah, right.
And,
get out of here.
I
remember, it was his 300th start tonight. It's silly.
I remember Steve DeBerg, who was at 44 years old somehow looking younger than Chris Chandler, who he would come in relief of. Tom Brady looks nothing like Steve DeBerg. 44 is different.
No.
Steve DeBerg would not chuck it down the field like that. And you can understand why Tom Brady's having fun playing with these weapons, where now all of a sudden it looks like Mike Evans is the third best receiver on this squad because Antonio Brown looks spry.
Maybe
he
the
looks
fourth with Gronk.
Yeah, I think he's the fourth most important weapon to this team right now. Godwin, I'm not gonna blame Godwin for that turnover because he was trying to make a spin move and make things happen at the goal line. I thought Godwin from the looks of it, it looks like Godwin's going to have a really big fantasy year there, Sugats.
Yeah, and same with Antonio Brown, and probably same with Gronk, right? So, and probably Mike Evans will eventually, right? Like, there's going to be weeks where Mike Evans just has monster games, but that, like, the talk of that team going undefeated is a bit ridiculous because we don't know how good Dallas is, right? We know Dak is healthy, we don't know how good Dallas is, and the notion that team is going to go undefeated is silly. Like, maybe they'll repeat, but they're going to have a handful of losses along the way.
Well, I'd like to go around the horn. Whitty, you've been playing Dan on Weekend Observations, and he's obviously not here for this postgame show, but he will be here for the postgame show on Sunday. What do you think Dan's takeaway would be from that game that you saw?
I was actually gonna do a Dan thing where I would just kept saying, he's 44 years old. He's 44 years old. He's twice as old as Micah Parsons.
Wait,
who was getting toyed with in that first half. Poor guy, and he apparently said, "I can't wait to play Tom Brady." And then Tom Brady, they run this blitz for the fourth touchdown of the game, the throw to Gronkowski. It's this weak side blitz that they bring six guys, and Tom Brady's like, "Come on!" I haven't seen this a million times before. He finds Gronkowski for the easy touchdown, It was so easy for him to just manipulate the game. As Stugat says, he takes over a point down with a minute to play and one timeout. They got to burn one of them for a penalty. They're fine. They're going to get down the field. He's throwing 3 incomplete passes at the end of the game. He's 44.
Okay, so I got to dock you some points, though, because Dan's observations would be he's 44 bleeping years old.
Oh,
you messed that up. So, and it felt like it was more witty than Levitard in that take. Right. Billy's been around a little bit longer. Billy, what do you think Dan's observation would be from that Thursday night game?
Damian Woody and SVP are sitting very close to each other. I know that wasn't the question.
That's not the question.
A little too close for comfort. A little too close for
comfort. Go to the next person.
Okay. All right.
This is not a desk.
Let me check it out.
People are sitting right in front of each other.
You go to the next person on that one.
And then it looks like
he's still going. He's still going.
Take a look. Also, SVP, lots of freckles. Look how close.
Right. Sure.
Roy, what do you think Dan's observation would be?
Oh, you're right. Oh, wow.
Right? They're very close.
Oh, my God. That is dangerous.
My observation would
I'm not distancing anymore, I guess.
Speaking for Dan, he would say, powerful.
He would probably freeze. I think you're dead on with what Dan would say. Given my experience, so that was an impeccable impression of Dan's observation there. Sugats, I think you and I have the best idea of how to play this game. I think Dan's observation would be Dallas was impressive, but look at the turnover discrepancy. Tampa's just that much better than Dallas. The fact that was a close game was ridiculous. The fact that Tampa still won with that turnover discrepancy is insane, Stu.
Yes, and Tampa's going to get a lot better as the year goes on, as long as they stay healthy is where Dan would go. But he would also say, Mike, what I said to start the show, which is you have to be encouraged by Dallas. Like Dallas going into Tampa in that spot, celebrating a Super Bowl with fans in the actual stadium. I mean, and to play the way they played and for Dak to be healthy, like that's a big deal for Dallas. So I think Dan would probably go in that direction too. Like that game told me more about the Cowboys than it did about the Buccaneers. I knew the Buccaneers were good. I didn't know the Cowboys were that good, If
Dallas had hung on to win, I think he would have done game decided by a bounce, because Chris Godwin fumbling inside the 5 is game decided. Oh, if it bounces the other way, maybe it goes through out of bounds and they have the ball at the 1 yard line. But that was a real turning point. I do slightly disagree, though, with the turnover notion, because Dallas left plenty of points on the table as well. They had 3 drives inside the Tampa red zone in which they emerged with 6 points. They kicked 2 field goals and Zerline missed one. I also think I feel bad now for Dan that we're basically doing the show as Dan. He would definitely have hammered Mike McCarthy for kicking a field goal on 4th and goal from the 2. I hated that decision from them. I hated when Bruce Arians punted on 4th and 5 from the Dallas 40. What are you punting with Tom Brady as your quarterback for? There was a lot of unnecessary kicking in this game.
I think Dan would have actually mentioned. I think Dan would have mentioned CeeDee Lamb because he had an excellent game as well. He had a 100-yard game today. He has a touchdown, so he would have brought him up.
Hard disagree on CeeDee Lamb.
Really?
I guarantee you. Yeah, I guarantee you when Pro Football Focus puts out the stats and what Dak Prescott did while targeting CeeDee Lamb, I bet you his rating was down because there were a lot of disaster plays that came out of targeting CeeDee Lamb. The drops were
that last play. That last throw.
They're using CeeDee Lamb. Like CeeDee Lamb is their supplement for what Zeke used to be, because Zeke was such a great goal line weapon for them. You put the ball in CeeDee Lamb's hands, he can make stuff happen, but a lot they were forcing the ball to him, and CeeDee Lamb wasn't exactly answering the bell, Tony.
I thought Michael Gallup was better than he was.
I agree.
Well, to Roy's point, he made a lot of big catches down the stretch, but to Mike's point, he had 15 targets where he only made 7 catches. So, 15 targets. Yeah, 15 targets.
Go ahead, Tony.
Speaking on Mike McCarthy's choices, obviously tonight, I'm going to read 4 different plays where he kind of didn't get it done. Field goal attempt from the Tampa Bay 13 on 4th and 3. Field goal attempt from the Tampa Bay 17. Field goal attempt from the Tampa Bay 42, a 60-yard attempt. Field goal attempt from the Tampa Bay 3 on 4th and 3. Like those are not winning plays.
Yeah, tons of sweat.
Like those are not winning plays, especially when you have a quarterback like Dak who looks really good.
On the subject of sweat, is Dak Prescott the most profuse sweater in the NFL?
He's sweaty. He's a sweaty guy.
McCarthy, that's for sure. Yeah.
No quarterback sweats like that.
Yeah, that's an excellent point, but it might be that pregame workout routine that he has too that gets him sweating like that. I think the main takeaway, if you're a Dallas Cowboy fan here, is what could have been. Obviously, you're probably a little concerned that Ezekiel Elliott, all the talk about him getting in shape and rounding into that form, he's rounding into a form all right, but it's more of a sphere and not what we saw his first year in the league. The main thing to hang your Cowboy hat on is that Dak Prescott looks good. He looks good throwing the ball. If you can haul in some of those passes and be a little bit more efficient, i.e. CeeDee Lamb, I think you have a team that can certainly compete for a division crown in a really weak division.
That's a bad division. Brady never sweats, by the way, right? Conversely.
No, never.
No, he's completely dry.
Before. Yeah, that's weird.
I will say, though,
Fillers clogging pores.
To your point about this being a bad division, I think like Dallas being good kind of makes this division a real prospect now, because like Washington, I think, is a good team. And so, like, if Dallas is a good second team, I think Washington's going to be good. They have a good roster.
Washington's a playoff team. Their defense should improve. Another year of Chase Young. You would imagine their quarterback play has improved with Ryan Fitzpatrick, but who knows? When everyone expects good things out of Ryan Fitzpatrick, that's usually when things go sideways over there. I'm going to pause on saying if I'm a Cowboy fan, I'm obviously thinking the division is in play after that weak division and all that. But this is kind of how last year went with Dallas. They didn't get the win. Dak Prescott was throwing the ball through the air and throwing up really crazy numbers through it, and yet they wouldn't get the dub. Who do they play next week? Because I think I'm on auto fade on Dallas because they got the spotlight game. I think because the turnover differential, people are going to think that they're a lot better than they were because they went down to the wire with the chance.
They're away at the Chargers next weekend.
That game is
awesome. Awesome.
Game's going to be incredible. You know that
4
the
o'clock red zone. Oh.
Yeah, we're not going to be able to go on live with the post game until 8 p.m. because that game is going to take forever.
Yeah.
Bet I'm placing on DraftKings. It's just that game is coming down to the last play. There is going to be a ball thrown through the air with 0.0 left on the clock.
Can I ask a serious question? When are coaches and teams going to learn? If you're playing a Tom Brady-led team, when are they going to learn how to run out the entire clock before they kick a field goal?
I thought you were saying never kick field goals.
You can't leave them 10 seconds. I'm serious.
No.
It's incredible.
What did you think of
Script kick?
I've never seen this strategy employed. You occasionally see a much deeper throw, maybe out of the back of the end zone, but Tom Brady ran 3 consecutive short throws out to the sideline in an attempt to run out the clock. I kind of feel like we could have done that a little bit better, but I've never really seen that from Tom Brady before. And I really enjoyed that. Another thing that Bruce Arians did that I always enjoy, the time-honored tradition every other week of an NFL regular season, Ronald Jones will fumble early and never see the field again.
Right.
Okay, hold on. As a former Rojo, I had shares in Rojo last year, okay, in fantasy. And it's the most frustrating thing to see Ronald Jones, okay, have 9 for 72 in the first half, have a fumble, and then never see the field again. Meanwhile, Uncle Lenny catches passes off of his forehead, the brick hands go everywhere, and yet he's running every single play. God, I hate him.
I had four prop plays that I placed today. It was Tampa Bay first quarter over. It was 6.5 was the line. They scored that touchdown there before the end of the first quarter. So I nailed that. I had Dak Prescott over 292 passing yards. Easily did that. I had CD Lamb over 5.5 catches. Got that one easy. The one that I lost, Ronald Jones rushing yards over 45. One fumble, and he fumbled, and I knew it. I just knew it. Was never going to get that shot again with Rojo. Why is he even there? Why does he put himself through this?
How much has Arians? How much has Brady? Like Brady just like not having it. I feel like because there was a false start on that last drive that led to them taking the timeout. Like I can't imagine anything that infuriates him more than an offensive lineman false starting on a final drive. Like don't get in my way. Just everyone don't get in my way, and I'll make this work.
You do that and it cost him the game, you don't look at him for a week.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
You're not on the
You don't look
team.
him in the
What are
eyes.
you talking about? You're on the team.
It wasn't even the
If you're
memorable
on the
false
team.
start. The memorable false start from this game, though, was a call from Hockey's son, Ed Hockey's son. Who
I think he's really good, by the way.
I think he's pretty
like
good.
him.
He needs to work on turning off that microphone a little bit quicker. Gotta have a quicker draw. But we did have the call false start. Everybody on the offensive line.
Love that.
Yep.
Which is bullshit because it should just be on the center.
I agree.
You usually hear false start everybody but the center, and that makes the center feel like I didn't do anything wrong when it's the center's fault. So go false start everybody but the center, or just the center, but not the entire offensive line because we all know whose fault that was.
Speaking of memorable offensive line calls, we mentioned Ron Cherry on the show this week. And,
that's right.
We did. Where during a University of Miami Hurricanes game, where he left his microphone on for the entire length of a timeout.
I remember that.
And so I remember like because in the press box they play it through the speakers. I don't think it was heard through the stadium because the stadium can control his fader. But we were listening to a full referee conversation. I think like a referee was acknowledging that he made a mistake on a call or something like that. It was genuine candor, but not surprising at all that Ron Cherry doesn't know how to work the microphone attached to his hip.
I'm going to check back in with Billy, who I saw rub his eyes, and he's a new dad. Sleep is hard to come by. He has been locked in on what's going on SportsCenter right now. What is
Mike, if you saw this Woody Van Pelt thing, it's just jarring, man.
It was close together.
Trying to direct traffic. I can't watch that simultaneously, but I am curious what is piquing Billy Gill's interest right now.
I'm actually looking ahead for the Cowboys. I have their schedule up here because this one felt like one that slipped through their fingers, and if they have, a shot at the playoffs, I'm
Slip through the finger game. Yeah,
and I'm wondering
It's a different game.
Next week.
right.
They play at the Chargers. You think that's a win or a loss?
We established that we think it's going down to the final throw, and we'll just flip the
Steve
coin.
Martin also.
The following week, then
Combined 100 passes in that game.
Right. Okay.
win or loss.
I couldn't hear you. What's the game after that?
They're at home against Philadelphia. Win or loss.
That's a
Oh
win.
wow, home opener.
Then they host Carolina after that.
Right.
That's
I don't know. That sounds like a backup against a wall game, and possibly a must win.
And
And
they host the Giants.
I wonder what we're going to do when a team starts 0-2, because that's a time-honored tradition. When a team starts 0-2, we start putting out the stats of teams that start 0-2 don't make the playoffs, but we've never had a season this long in NFL history. Do we toss that stat?
Right. Maybe
I think we toss that
0-3 is
stat
the
out.
0-2 or something. I don't know.
I think so
Six
many
at
of
New England.
the ways that we orientate discussion around the NFL are based on a 16 game schedule that I don't think we realize the number of ways that, well, first off, there will be no 500 teams this year. That 8-8 used to be such a joke, and now 8-9. There is no 8-8 anymore.
How pissed is Jeff Fisher, by the way?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, now we've done this. I could have turned around my entire
Love
legacy.
it. Right.
But to your point, Woody, I'm just hammering season-long overs because I'm like, the books haven't figured this out yet.
Yeah.
I think everything's under right now, undervalued in terms of season-long totals, which is why I have an entire mortgage payment on Nick Chubb's season over 1,300.
Is that your best bet? Are you finally revealing the best bet?
That is my best bet. I've had this on my dossier to talk about for weeks on end.
You have
Right.
a
Go to
dossier?
DraftKings.
Wow.
Love
Go
a
to
dossier.
DraftKings.
Of course you do.
Go to DraftKings. Promo code Dan, obviously. Congratulations to all the bettors out there that won Bucks plus 72. I think.
If you bet at least $1 this week, you can get $200 in credits. DraftKings.
Oh wow.
That's right.
Yeah,
Week
and
seven.
Dan.
Virginia call 1-800-GAMBLER.
yeah,
Right.
and
Indiana.
1-800-9 with it.
Week 8 at Minnesota. Halloween. Halloween night.
Oh wow.
Let me
Anything can happen,
tough
Billy.
game.
Yeah.
So Billy,
Tough
you're
game.
running through it right now. What's the record that you have the Dallas Cowboys at leading up to this Halloween game?
Oh, headed into week 8. All right. Well,
Yeah.
we said that the Chargers was a toss-up. We'll give them a W there.
We should give it that. We
Wow.
should say draw. We should say that's a tie.
Draw. Okay,
tie.
so
Yeah.
Tie.
So they're
Tie.
1-1.
at this
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
All right, then versus Philadelphia, Monday nighter.
That's a win.
Ooh. Where is that? That's at Jury World, right?
Yeah, it's a win.
So now we're at 1-1
for me.
1.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Then they
Win
host
for me, Clive.
Carolina. That's another win. 2-1-1.
2-1-1.
The Giants. I think they're going to go on a little tear here. 3-1-1.
At home, 3-1-1.
Yeah, at home.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
At
Okay.
New England. That's a win.
Whoa.
That's
Yeah. Win?
And a
Let's
bye
give them
week.
another draw. Let's give them another draw.
Oh wow.
3-1-2.
3-1.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3-1-2.
3-1-2. Wow.
What's happening here?
Then
I think the draw should be in the middle.
I think we just found out a way a team can finish
Really?
500 too.
Yeah, 8-8.
Yeah.
8-8-1.
8-8-1. Jeff Fisher is back. I keep going, Bill. Where are we?
Well, then we have the bye week and then Halloween night, and we just said anything can happen.
Right.
Yeah.
So what are we going to toss
Ooh.
Halloween on a Sunday is the worst day, right? Like by far.
Oh,
There's
it's the
worse
worst.
Halloween than a
up? Maybe
Sunday.
a Monday.
Not
Maybe
great,
a Monday.
Monday
Yeah.
Halloween's not great.
Yeah.
Hey, Stanford Steve's there.
Hey, Stanford Steve.
Not nearly as close as Woody,
Is
though.
he as close or no?
No.
The DraftKings line on Nick
You
Chubb
could-
right now is 13.50.
Yeah.
1350.
Wow.
Hammer the over.
Mhm.
Wow.
Hammer it. He might get that on Sunday. I'm telling you right now.
I had to lay a lot of money. It was like 145 to win 100 on Antonio Brown over 4.5 tonight. And so Mike hit 4 at halftime. And I mean, I was sweat. You know when you have to sweat those out? And I'm already bragging about it to my friend. And and then late in the fourth quarter, there was like a little bubble screen to Brad. He got it for the 5th catch, and that was it.
I think that's the most impressive thing that Tom Brady's done over these last 2 seasons is somehow harness the talent of Antonio Brown and he's kept them in check.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Well, in some ways, the entire
He allowed him to live in his house.
The entire Tampa team is an island of misfit toys. Like Tom Brady's 44. Rob Gronkowski, Mike, you sent us a picture of you and your friend Carlos with Rob Gronkowski looking like a completely different human being than he does now because he had given up on being in football shape.
For the record out there, that wasn't a hypocritical take by me. Gronk asked to take that photo with me. Not the other way around.
DJ set.
So
and Bruce Arians is also one of these misfit toys.
Yeah, he was on television. And then you have Gronkowski, who had given up on playing football, Antonio Brown, who had completely lost it. And then I was like, it had only dawned on me when I was watching the third quarter, oh, Jason Pierre-Paul is out there wrecking things on defense.
Yeah, it's been there for a while. Yeah.
And he's awesome. He's really good for them. Like the number of things that have come together to make this Tampa thing work, it's unbelievable. Their quarterback is 44.
Yeah, but back to Dallas, you're on the road with a quarterback who hasn't played in a while, who's injured, coming off an injury, and that defense is supposed to be an all-world defense. Like everyone's talking about that, and you have that kind of game against that defense on the road. Like that offense. To me, that's it. That's the biggest thing, right? Yeah, like Dallas has a chance to be really good.
It's not just Dak though. It's like their offense is really good, but they're infuriating with scoring touchdowns. I kind of wonder, like, do Dallas fans enjoy this experience of having a really fun offense, but they don't always score points and they can't stop anybody? Like, I wonder if that's fun. It would be fun for me because as a Dolphins fan, I never had an offense that fun. But like, I wonder if that's fun to root for.
What you got, Tony?
Kellen Moore's really good, by the way.
Yeah.
Right? Like, as an offensive coordinator, like, he's really good. What I was going to say was, on top of the defense being really good for Tampa, they lost Sean Murphy-Bunting, like, really early with a very nasty dislocated elbow when CeeDee Lamb scored the touchdown. And, like, from then on, it was like, all right, whoever's in that spot, I think it was Ross Cockrell, like, they just devoured him. So it was easy pickings for Dak Prescott.
Whitty, there was a team once upon a time, and Mike perhaps knows this, I think Roy knows this, the San Diego Chargers, who were that team. And they were fun to root for. They had the worst defense in the NFL, but they had Dan Fouts, they had Chuck Muncie, they had John Jefferson, they had, I believe, Wes Chandler, James Lofton, and it was the best offense. They had the best offense and the worst defense at the exact same time in the NFL.
Well, even
and every game was like, every game was like, 45, 42 type games, and they were fun. They were just fun to watch and fun to root for. The
Rivers era was like that too, right? Where like they have a really fun offense, but they don't convert at really important moments, and their defense can't get a stop when they need it to.
Pretty much,
that's the Rivers era in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Don't you think Tampa, for whatever reason, in football, we're not hitting last season at all with asterisk the way that we do with any of the other sports? It's interesting, but I got to imagine there's some sort of huge advantage to playing a Super Bowl at home, and that's probably against a hurt Patrick Mahomes, by the way, who had to have offseason surgery. He was held to without a touchdown. It was one of the all-time defensive performances, no doubt, but it's not like Tampa was this ultra-dominant defense all of last season. That very same Kansas City Chiefs team tore them up at Raymond James Stadium during the regular season. They really came on late. They went through an incredible run, and the scalps they collected were legendary. Drew Brees and Aaron Rodgers. But if you really look at those performances, Drew Brees was a name. If he had the hair, maybe in that game it would have been a better effort. but I had to turn that game off because it was painful to watch Drew Brees. Right. And LaFleur did a terrible job calling that game against Tampa. I kind of feel like they got hot at the right time, and maybe we're overvaluing this defense of theirs, Stugats.
And Rodgers probably also should have run the ball into the end zone at the end of that game. They probably got the ball, right? So that was kind of on Aaron in that spot.
Well, the field goal is.
But Mike, I'll give them a pass for the home Super Bowl because I believe they won all 3 playoff games on the road. Did they not? Or at least two
they did. Right? Yeah, but they went through Lewicki and who was a
Taylor Heineke.
Heineke. I'm sorry, not Lewicki.
He should be the starter in Washington this year. He should.
I don't think the Heineke story is done yet because Fitzpatrick tends to do this.
Wow. The whole story hasn't been written yet, huh?
Yeah, not quite. But I do kind of feel like their defense is maybe a tad overrated. They have some marquee names, but there were some things in that secondary. Obviously, when Dak Prescott, who you mentioned doesn't play for a long time, coming off of that ankle injury, lights him up over 400 passing yards. Like it's insane. You'd be concerned about that secondary a little bit.
They finished fifth last year in DVOA, so I mean they were a good defense, and they brought everyone back. They brought 22 starters back. That's incredible.
Billy, you seeing what I'm seeing, Bill? Bill, you seeing it? Oh, look at Brady, how good he looks at that post-game press conference. Wow.
Everything he's wearing is the same color.
Mike, are you seeing him right now?
He looks like he's about to sneak into a building pretending to be a painter to rob the place.
I think Mike froze on us.
I think Mike froze.
Mike froze, yeah.
Are you guys seeing Brady right now?
My team is off.
I don't like
Brady.
I don't
Brady,
like the tying of the hoodie string like that.
Brady,
really? I have mine tied right now. Actually, look.
Really?
Oh, you
Right
look
up to
great.
your neck.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do, Tony. Yeah.
That's right.
Someone's asking how about hypnotism. I don't know why.
Brady looks better than I've ever looked at. Like at 44, he looks better than I did at 24.
Stu,
Like,
how old are you? What's the age difference between you and Brady?
Look, I'm 49, but I like to tell people I'm 48. I mean, that's
So you're 5 years older than Brady.
Doing that 'cause
Why do you do that? Why?
Why do you do
Makes
that?
me feel better
Why?
about myself. It just makes
Yeah,
me
but
feel
the thing
younger.
is that every time you say it, you follow up with, "Well, I'm not really Bill. I'm 48. All right."
I didn't
Too
see
old
it
for this.
today.
And then
Yeah,
you're
that's just
49,
pretend like I'm 48,
I'm
yeah.
48.
Guys, if you were 50 and said you were 49, that'd be a good bit of marketing. There is no difference between 49 and 48.
No.
Literally
He
no
himself
difference.
Every time he does the lie, also he
Yeah.
immediately corrects himself.
I
Just
But
close
tells
to
you
the
he
50
wants
is all.
his
Well,
video-
technically, it's not a lie if I'm correcting myself,
That's
right?
true.
Right, it's like parentheses. That's like air quotes.
I
I don't know what it is. I don't know what I'm going.
Stipulation, I guess. Yeah.
Well,
I'm 49.
I don't know how often we're gonna have a bunch of new parents doing post game recaps at 12:35, but
Hopefully never again.
hopefully never again. But
Yeah, hopefully.
I think
No, my wife is Abby is so mad at me right now. Okay?
Yeah.
My daughters are trying to sleep. One of them has an ACT tomorrow.
Oh no!
Oh,
Oh,
ACT is
no.
overrated.
Worst of the
Trust me, the
standardized
ACT is
tests.
overrated. Don't
Do you
worry.
want to go
Yeah,
around the
no
room,
one
give
cares
your
about this.
ACT score, or
Did not take it.
we didn't have to take it when I was a kid.
I took
I took the SAT.
Yeah.
you didn't do both?
No,
That's-
no.
Rudy, I think
I was
our
destined.
generation did both.
Wait, do we want to guess Winnie's? Do we want to guess Winnie's ACT score?
Are you?
Oh
Are
my
you?
God.
Can you take the phone away from the microphone? Something was happening there.
Oh,
I want to guess Winnie's
Oh,
score.
God. Oh,
you
God.
said great.
I think he's doing this on purpose to get out of here.
yeah. she is.
Mute and unmute yourself. You sound like hell.
You sound like you look.
Yeah.
All the
With
time.
the lights off too.
That's the most impressive thing about Brady,
Oh,
his ability to
God.
stay up this late.
Exactly.
Sound like a robot.
I like it.
Billy is just an out and out anarchist now.
I like it. It sounds good. Sounds like you're in a microwave or something.
A microwave, huh?
Yeah.
Well,
So this is, well, maybe not exactly this, but you can expect these hijinks and more games to talk about rather than obsessing over
How do I
one
sound
game
then?
and
Oh my God.
Better.
Even
the
worse.
proximity from
All right, good night.
proximity
Louder.
of Scott Van Pelt and Damian Woody. So make sure you subscribe to this Levitard and Friends YouTube page, and we'll have delightful post-game coverage for you on Sunday after the 4:00 games. Remember, Dan will make his return to the program at large, and we want this to be really fun. I am going to be out for the first edition.
yes, you are.
Because I'm going to Arrowhead. So you can actually, I'll come on as a stringer, guys. I'll give you immediate post-game reaction from my
Nice.
cell phone. I'll hop into the Zoom and I'll be able to tell you exactly how many Chiefs fans crying, sobbing on the floor I had to climb over to get to my rental car as I celebrate a 1-0 start to the season, which is not something I've enjoyed as a Browns fan since Jeff Garcia was our quarterback.
Mike,
Right.
the very informal start that we had before you joined us was we were kind of marveling at doing the finger in the earpiece move that reporters live from the scene do, and I think that'd be a good move for you on Sunday. Stick an AirPod in and do, guys, I'm live from the Arrowhead Stadium parking lot where the Cleveland Browns have just defeated the Kansas City Chiefs 34-28. Stood here in the parking lot, you see a couple of bodies, and like you do like a full-on report for
Yes.
this. I think that'd be a good way to approach it.
I fluctuate my weight wildly. right? And today I went for a tux fitting, and I got charged $50 in alterations because they had to let that puppy all the way out,
Oh no.
all the way out. And I'm worried because they just made the marks, and it's not all in the waist. Yes, they had to let out the waist some, but it's really in the ass and the thighs. I've been squatting and working on my legs, not skipping leg day, trying to get stronger legs for soccer, right? And it was a bad plan to do that weeks in advance of a wedding, because now everything's ruined. I am going to gain, I guarantee you, at least 9 pounds this weekend on barbecue, off beer in Kansas City, because there is nothing else to do there. There is so little to do in Kansas City that I'm actually going to Kansas on Saturday to find something to do. I'm going to the Wizard of Oz Museum, and hopefully I'm just going to eat some Toto's tacos. The entire city is just one big Wizard of Oz replica.
So, Mike, you investigated Kansas City and found nothing to do?
Not jazz.
No, not jazz. Are they more of a jazz or a blues scene? Being in Missouri,
they go both ways on that one.
Right. So I'm going to a barbecue place that many people have recommended to me tomorrow, and I'm taking my daughter to this game because this is one of the last trips that she can go on where it's free if she sits on our lap on the airplane. And I want to have the memory of all of us dressed in our Browns garb at a Browns game. So I'm taking her to this game, and she's a huge Wizard of Oz fan, oddly enough. And we're not in Kansas anymore, but we're actually going to be in Kansas. So I'm going to make that happen, make memories for her, and every time I try to teach her the "Here we go, Brownies" chant, she says no. So it's not going to go well for me. But I will promise you that I'll have one finger in my ear, trying to maintain professionalism as just grain alcohol is coursing through my veins.
Right.
Sunday at Arrowhead. I'm going to be very drunk. Very drunk. Very, depending on how the game goes. No, either way, I'm going to be drunk. That's a guarantee. My Crown exclusive burn.
This may not surprise you, but I can only enjoy live sporting events stone cold sober.
Well, I mean, that's
like
not surprising.
maybe but like I'm not like I tried on Sunday for the U.S. men's national team game to like drink up a little bit before the game. I had a few, but when it came time for kickoff, like I was fine, and I just stood there and enjoyed the game stone cold sober.
Had a few of what?
That's what were the libations you enjoyed? A couple of wine coolers, maybe a Zima.
Some ciders.
No, I had a couple sours. I probably had like 3 or 4 beers over the course of 4 or 5 hours.
Letting loose on the Lord's Day.
But by the time we got to the game, like I was good to go, and like I wasn't gonna start drinking then. Like I needed to die. I have to like dial in and focus on a game when I'm there.
That sounds like a gritted death punishment. Go to a sporting event stone cold sober.
Yeah.
I did that for one game during the pandemic at Hard Rock Stadium against Virginia, where they don't allow you to drink in the stadium and there's no atmosphere. I'm like, I will never come back to another game this year. And I did that, and I'm glad I did, because I got invited to the North Carolina game. I'm like, I got a bad feeling about this one.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Fantasy news. Tony, who are we targeting? Because let's not be humans about what's going on with the Baltimore Ravens. Gus Edwards, Justice Hill, J.K. Dobbins. Is it Devontae Freeman?
You're like Taysom.
Latavius Murray about to sign with the Ravens. Go ahead and pick him up in your waiver pool. If you play Fab because you're not a communist and use the waiver order, please put a nice little chunk on Fab on Latavius Murray, because that's the guy. I
thought Gus Edwards got hurt. Didn't he get hurt?
Yeah. Gus Edwards torn ACL.
Oh boy.
And like who's the guy? Tony, didn't you draft the guy that's there now? Like Taysom something?
Taysom Williams. Yeah, but the thing is, he's a Taysom.
I saw Ty apostrophe.
Ty apostrophe S-O-N.
Yes, Tyson. One of two.
It's pronounced the way that Stugatz pronounces Taysom Hill's name.
Right.
Taysom.
I think he'll be a change of pace back. I think Latavius Murray will have the once he learns the offense. I mean, I think that'll be a nice little 1-2 punch, him and Lamar. He did really well when Alvin Kamara was hurt last year, so I'm excited to see what Latavius Murray does. I think Lev Bell's washed. I think Devontae Freeman's washed. Those guys do not need to be on anybody's roster.
Mm-hmm.
But their names. Their
But
names.
their
Yeah.
names, yeah.
And
If you love
Sugats
the
loves
name game,
names.
if you love the name game, yeah, pick them up and burn a roster spot.
Right.
One thing before we wrap up the game, Dallas and Tampa Bay. One thing I wanted to mention about Antonio Brown, and as abhorrent as a human that he is, right? I think he's going to be a really integral piece to this offense. Like him going against third rank, string corners and slot corners, like is going to be an absolute nightmare.
Yeah, he's one of the generation's best wide receivers, and he's their slot guy. He's their slot guy, and we don't really know if he may very, very well still be as good as he was in Pittsburgh and hasn't really had the opportunity to show out. Maybe he's lost a step, but as you mentioned, going up against nickel corners, he still should eat plenty. And he showed it in the Super Bowl, and he showed it today that he's going to be a force that's really hard to defend.
Like the move that he had, and I don't remember exactly who the corner was, but the move that he just took off of the touchdown, kind of looked back and like stopped for a second, then just took off. It was like prime AB. So that was kind of cool to see. But then,
all right.
What do you think about Chris Collinsworth saying the $1 million smile and some off the field issues?
Yeah, that was
very. Let's just
weird.
Slide by that one.
Yeah.
It's so easy to just not address it. Like, just don't say anything about it.
Yeah. And people don't want those distractions. I guarantee you the number for this game is going to be massive. It's going to be ginormous because people like packed stadiums. They like the Cowboys. They certainly like Brady. And that game was tight throughout.
It was great.
You're going to have a gigantic number associated with this. The NFL is back. I don't know if you guys saw that the Clemson-Georgia game, which was in itself a grid of death punishment. If you wanted to watch that game start to finish, that outrated 4 out of the 5 NBA Finals games, I believe, or 5 out of the 6 NBA Finals games. So there are 2 major sports in this country. It's pro football and then college football. And we're going to be doing post-game shows, Levitard and Friends are, for both the 2 major sports. Head over to Twitter Spaces on Saturday night for the full cast, late cast, after dark, shut down full cast, whatever name they've settled on. It'll be fun.
Still thinking about it.
It's annoying that there's no T in the Twitter handle.
No T.
It throws me off. And of course, on this YouTube page every Sunday during the NFL season, right after the last game ends, or if it's a laugher, we'll come out early. The Levitard Show football extravaganza. That's TBD to be determined what we're going to call that. So maybe help us out with that. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, Billy and Roy, for staying up this late. Thank you to the Cowboys and Bucks for giving us a lot. Thank you for the really horrific lighting that Sugats has put in his office and making himself look like absolute dog shit. We thank you all very much. And there's going to be bonus show tomorrow in the main feed for the Levitard Show proper. We're giving you shows every day this week outside of Labor Day. You thought that shows on top of shows. And make sure to check out that Rick Ross interview. That shit was hilarious today. You guys did such an amazing job with that. So we will see you on that feed tomorrow and then back here Sunday. Dan and company all back again. We'll see you.
Okay, goodbye.